So today I want to talk about the straw man fallacy. What a straw man is when we build up one argument, a weaker argument, in place of the actual and the real point that is trying to be conveyed. And we see that a lot in Catholicism. I mean, as a Catholic, I get told all the time, you think the Pope's infallible, you worship Mary, you think only priests can forgive sins. And I know that this is way off. And I also know that I don't blame these people for that, because that's probably what they've been taught at some point. But what I like to do is I like to try to build up a steel man argument. So I look at different arguments and points and topics and try to build up the strongest argument you can make for them. Another approach we'll often see is the ad hominem, or about the man, that fallacy, where they'll say, your religion's wrong because I know Catholics who don't know the Bible. Or I know leaders in the Catholic Church who've done horrible things. Or they approach and they attack the man, the person, and by association, then the teachings of the church must be wrong because I know these people who don't know the Bible, so therefore all Catholics don't know the Bible, or I know these Christian leaders who have done awful things, that means all Christians must be awful. While the ad hominem fallacy and the straw man fallacy do eventually break down, what I do encourage you to do is to argue and to debate and to build up the steel man argument and to create the strongest presentation, and then try to poke holes in it and see where the source is coming from and see where your information is coming from, and making sure that you can build up the strongest arguments before you try to tear it down, because it doesn't really mean much if you knock down a straw man. But if you can build up a steel man, build up a strong argument with the truth, with the right source, with the facts, and then you can approach it in that regard. My encouragement is not to be afraid of offending people and not being sensitive and not taking offense either, but to continue to argue and to continue to debate. If we look at St. Paul in the early church, and he would go to the town square and he would argue all day, spend his days sometimes, and he would sometimes convert people. But we're so afraid and we think that it's not effective at all, but what's definitely not effective is not doing anything. So if we do have charitable and respectful conversations, then fruit will come from that, especially if you don't take offense. That's one thing, we're so sensitive and we think if we disagree then we must hate them. It's okay to challenge each other because that's how we grow and that's how we learn, and that's how we can lead people closer to Jesus Christ. So continue to build up those steel men, build up those strongest arguments, check out the source, and argue and debate and grow in your faith and draw people closer to Jesus Christ.